Something that I've mentioned in almost every video I've done that features one of NVIDIA's RTX 3000 series laptop chips is stressing the fact that the RTX 3080 in this laptop is in no way the same as the chip that you get in a desktop 3080 card. The 3080 in particular is possibly the most egregious, not only offering significantly less cores, clock speed and VRAM, but they aren't even based on the same die, and yet, for all intents and purposes, they're named functionally identically. Now, NVIDIA will tell you that the chip you get in this laptop is actually called the RTX 3080 Laptop. That extra delineator is what is meant to tell you that this is not exactly the same. You might also hear the argument from the commenters saying, well, obviously, it's not going to perform the same. Laptops are so much smaller, so duh, it's not going to perform the same, right? Well, let me address both of those quickly, starting with the latter. Yes, obviously this 1 centimeter thick laptop is not going to be able to offer the same performance as this 6 centimeter thick graphics card. The fact that there is a performance difference between these two isn't what I'm mad about. What gets me is the confusion that comes from naming two very different products functionally the same. The average gamer who might have watched a 3080 review or a 3080 desktop card review a little while ago, seeing that it offered exceptional 1440p gaming performance, eventually gets round to buying a new laptop. They read RTX 3080, assume it's the same, and then when they fire up some games at 1440p, and are getting half the performance, well, they might just feel a little bit cheated. To answer the response you get from NVIDIA, on principle, you could say that this or argue that this is almost misleading. Grammatically, adding the word laptop to the end of the same model number doesn't really fit as an extra descriptor for the chip itself. It reads as, this is an RTX 3080 based laptop, as the word laptop describes the entire unit, not just a modification to the GPU name. I know that sounds like semantics, and well, it is, but language is important, and this affects people's purchasing decisions for products that they can be shelling out months or years worth of savings for, and ones that they'll be stuck with for years to come. Imagine for a second that Ford sold their Mustang with two different V8 engine options. One is the famous 5-litre V8 with 450 horsepower, and the other is a more eco-friendly 3-litre V8 that they could call, the V8 Green with 300 horsepower instead. Both would be commonly referred to as the Mustang V8s, sometimes even by Ford themselves. Some dealers do tell you which engine the car you're looking at has, but most of the time it's only in the fine print and it's on the back of the page. It's not very obvious. And to top it off, in this fictional world, the only colour that Ford sell the Mustang in just happens to be green. So when you're looking them up and you see some listed as the Mustang V8 Green, you aren't quite sure if it's the full-fat 5-litre V8 with the 450 horsepower, but it's just a green car, or if it's the still impressive but not quite as good 3-litre instead. Confusing, isn't it? There's a reason why Mobile or M worked well as a descriptor on the GTX 900 series laptop chips. It's easy to know that a GTX 980M is somehow fundamentally different from a GTX 980. When they moved from the GTX 10 series and were named the same, it was a bit strange, but at least they were the exact same chips, just clocked a bit lower. Same for the RTX 20 series, same physical bits of silicon, just running at a lower clock speed. But now they have completely different chips that are functionally indistinguishable. Well, it makes being a laptop buyer really difficult. I would argue a company like AMD has done this relatively well with their Ryzen CPUs. The Ryzen 5900HS and 5900HX are visibly named differently from their desktop 5900X. It's not perfect. You do still need to look up how many cores they have and the clock speed they'll run at, but at least you would know at a glance that it's different in some way. I should also note that when I first made a video about this discrepancy, I did technically suggest NVIDIA using the word laptop to describe the difference. That was mostly a last resort if words like mobile weren't suitable. But even if you think that NVIDIA's laptop designator is enough, and let's face it, they're not changing that for this generation anyway, there is another problem. NVIDIA's official position is that partners are required to list the correct name, which includes the word laptop, and what TDP the chip is configured to. I'll cover the TDP in another video, but for now, let me show you ASUS's main product page for this Zephyrus G15. If you start by looking at the tech specs page, you'll see that ASUS is fully compliant here, both with the correct name, and even the TDP and VRAM amounts are listed too. But tech specs isn't the first page you land on. Features is, and if you scroll down to the very first paragraph about the G15, it reads GeForce RTX 3080 GPU. No laptop. If you scroll down a bit further and look at the section that tells you about the specs in more detail, yeah, GeForce RTX 3080 GPU in the blurb again, and the highlight reel specs, the ones that are big and in your face, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 GPU. No laptop. This is the main product page for this laptop. If ASUS themselves can't make this clear, then distributors that just copy and paste press releases or these feature pages sure as hell won't. The Overclocked UK page for this laptop lists the GPU 13 separate times, and not once does it call it 3080 laptop. And this isn't just me calling out clockers either, it's a widespread issue. Scan doesn't list it correctly until you click on specifications, but to get there you have to scroll past the title, the subheading, and a massive product name right at the top of the product overview tab. PC World Currys don't list it as 3080 laptop anywhere, and while Box don't sell this 3080 model, they don't list the 3070 laptop version correctly anywhere, even on the spec list. Even across the pond over in the States, Newegg lists the 3070 model without the laptop name anywhere until you scroll down, click on specs, then scroll down even further. Now, in theory, this is all not in compliance with NVIDIA's requirements, meaning NVIDIA should be able to apply some pressure and get these pages updated. I say in theory because it's been 7 months since these chips were announced and over 6 months since they started shipping to customers, and these errors are still very much present. So before you jump to conclusions about follow the money and there is no incentive for them to fix this, I should make it clear that when I first pointed this issue out in February, my NVIDIA rep told me that they should be listing it as RTX 3080 laptop everywhere, or RTX 3000 laptop, whichever chip it is. And in a hilarious self-own, when I found NVIDIA's own store page doesn't call them laptop parts, yes, doesn't, it still doesn't, his final response was, my eyeballs have already taken enough damage, thank you. Clearly, NVIDIA's marketing teams do care about this being correct, but NVIDIA employs over 18,000 people as of October last year, so getting a massive organization like that to do, well, literally anything, takes time and a lot of follow-up emails. Overall, of course, while this isn't the absolute end of the world, it would be very nice for the distributors, especially the places where people are buying these machines, to update their product pages to make it clear that these are not the exact same chips. obviously there will be a performance difference. Having an entire system that can be, well, hundreds of times the volume of laptop, but at the same time, to have them literally named the same at the point of sale, the place where you're going to buy them, is not great, and it would be nice to see that updated. In an ideal world, NVIDIA would tweak the name from laptop to something like mobile or portable, something that doesn't describe the entire unit and is more something that shows that it's a slightly different version than their, desktop counterparts. Of course, like I said, there is some differences in the TDPs as well, including in the laptop variety, and I actually have a couple of videos both already on that and coming up very shortly, so do make sure you're subscribed to those to see that difference in performance. So you've heard my thoughts on this discrepancy, but I would love to hear yours in those comments down below. What do you think of this situation? Do you think that it's a big deal or not so bad? Is it something that you think NVIDIA should change or fix right now, or is it less of a priority? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in those comments down below. Of course, if you want to see more videos like this one on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday basis, then do hit that subscribe button with the bell notification icon. There's plenty more videos coming up shortly, including more reviews of NVIDIA RTX laptops and a load of other stuff, so do stay tuned. If you want to support the channel as well, then you can hit that YouTube join button that's new. You get access to our Money Min Discord chat, sponsor-free videos, and you get some cool emojis to use in the comments and on our live streams. There is also other ways that you can support as well. If you prefer to support on Patreon, you can do that with a link in the description, or there's also a link to merch or hoodies or t-shirts like this one. This is a sort of RTX 2060 I designed in Blender myself, or a load of other stuff you can take a look at. There is also affiliate links to places like Overclock.uk and Amazon if you're buying from there. There's plenty of other videos on the end cards that you can keep watching. Maybe check out the review of the Zephyrus G15 if you haven't already. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments down below, and we'll see you on the next video.